I wish someone made this video before I dropped over $500 on the Nama J2. Like, how could it be that almost every video on YouTube says that it's perfect? I don't trust that, and I have a feeling you don't either. After testing over 12 juicers, saying the Nama J2 is perfect just isn't true. Here are 10 things I wish I knew before buying it. When you're spending over $500 on juicer, you expect it to feel rock solid, but I noticed something strange almost immediately when I first started using it. Watch what happens when I turn on the J2 and start juicing. See the rocking motion? The top chamber doesn't sit securely on the base, and it creates this wobble. It's not enough to make me worry about the machine tipping over, but if you've never used a J2 before, it can feel like something's wrong. Turns out that this is normal and it's part of the juicer's design. But then I ran into another problem. Every now and again, the hopper gets stuck on the chamber. The first time it happened, I was wrestling with the thing trying to twist it off, and I thought, oh boy, here we go again. But eventually I learned that the fix was pretty easy. You just turn the hopper clockwise toward the lock position first, and then you turn it counterclockwise toward the unlock position. This makes it twist off like butter. Now, this isn't gonna happen to you all the time, but you're probably gonna experience this at least once when you're using the machine. Now, one of the biggest promises of cold press juicers is that they extract every last drop of juice, leaving behind dry, crumbly pulp. That's basically how you measure a juicer's efficiency. And if you've watched most of the reviews on Nama J2, you'd think it's some kind of miracle machine. Just dropping your produce and poof, 100% efficiency, not a single drop wasted. But the first time you actually use it, you'll realize that it's just not how it works. Let me show you. Here's the pulp from the cucumber, and here's the pulp from the celery. Still wet. Wet enough that you can squeeze out more juice with your hand. In my experience, cucumbers, celery, and pineapples are all tricky things to juice, and honestly, that's not just a Nama J2 problem. I've tested over a dozen cold press machines, and none of them are perfect either, especially with these types of ingredients. Different machines are gonna give you different results depending on the produce. There's also this special layering technique that you should use to make sure you're getting the most out of your fruits and vegetables. For the best results, you wanna follow this order of ingredients inside your hopper. Leafy greens at the bottom, then soft produce, then medium produce, and finally hard fruits and vegetables. Those heavy pieces are going to use gravity to push down the lighter pieces into the juicer, and this helps improve the yield and squeeze out more juice so you get the best bang for your buck with your groceries. So the Nama J2 won't give you perfectly dry pulp every time, but neither will most juicers on the market. It's important you have realistic expectations. I actually did a head-to-head comparison of the J2 against 11 other top juicers on the market, and the results were surprising, especially when we tested things like celery and leafy greens, but more on that later. Now we got to talk about cleaning, because it's arguably one of the most important factors when it comes to stick to juicing. Everyone says the J2 is easy to clean, and on the surface it is. Everything comes apart quickly and rinses, so there's no problem. But here's what they don't tell you. The J2 has a stainless steel juicing screen, and cold press juicers have been using this kind of technology for over a decade. And it's great because you get minimal pulp, but there's a catch. These types of juicing screens are harder to clean because they have these tiny holes. Over time, mineral deposits can build up in these tiny holes and reduce the yield. It really just depends on how often you juice and what types of things you're juicing. For some people, this could happen over the course of a year or maybe even longer. Now, removing stains or mineral buildup is easy. You just soak the parts in some warm water, citric acid, and baking soda overnight. Then everything scrubs off. Beyond that, there are nooks and crannies where pulp can get stuck, and this includes under the auger, in these shallow grooves, inside the tiny hole of the strainer, around the pulp ejector, and under the outlet gasket. And then there are less obvious spots where most people never check. So the pulp outlet seal gasket, the juice cap stopper, the spinning brush blades, the hopper gasket, and the chamber gasket. Now, these parts with the silicone rubber, you only have to clean them every once in a while, but most people don't even know about them. So yeah, there are some things I found out about after I bought the J2, but most of them are just minor. None of these were deal breakers. And the J2 actually has become one of my top 3 favorite juicers that I'd easily recommend to my friends. Here's why. Now, you're lucky if you get a 2-year warranty with most juicers. The Nama J2 comes with a 15-year warranty, making it stand out. Recently, many companies have switched to longer warranties to stay competitive with Nama, but I still think that they have the edge here, and this is why. It's their customer service. I've gotten so many comments like this. I have a Nama J2 and the customer support is unreal. I had a problem with a part in the juicing section. They replaced the whole thing, no questions asked. You know what's really funny is that nobody knows about this next part. On Nama's website is sort of like a hidden catalog of special items, and they don't really push these, but if you ask me, they 100% should. There are these attachments called add-ons that enhance the functionality of the J2. The best part is that all of these add-ons are backwards compatible. This means that if you buy a J2 today, 3 or 4 years from now, a lot of these add-ons they're coming out with will still work with your machine. They sort of built the app store of juicing, because if you want to make sorbet, there's an add-on for that. If you want an even bigger hopper, there's an add-on for that too. They also have some of the best accessories I've used to date, like the juice bottles. I don't know how I could live without them, to be honest. I use them for not just juice, but water, protein shakes, plant milks, and many more things. If you want even less pulp, they've also got this juicing container that comes with a built-in strainer. And there's even a stainless steel citrus juicer accessory so you can make orange juice or juice lemons even faster. Now, these cost extra, but considering the base model of the juicer is more than $100 cheaper than the competition, that gives you enough cash left over to actually buy the add-ons that you want. What I like about this is that it gives you the freedom to customize your experience. And if you're thinking about buying the J2, check out the link in the description. I'll update it with the best discount on the internet to save you some money. Now, the J2 isn't just a pretty juicer that comes with a bunch of cool add-ons. When comparing it against other popular machines, it's a consistent performer. And I didn't really realize that until I spent over $4,000 and tested against 11 other machines. To do this, I juiced equal amounts of orange, celery, ginger, and leafy greens in each of these machines. And let's just say the results surprised me, especially when it came to tricky ingredients like celery and leafy greens. Now, I won't go into full details about the scorecard here, but if you care about the juice yield and how dry the pulp is, the J2 might shock you. If you want to see the exact side-by-side breakdown of where the J2 beats out the more expensive models, stay with me. But first, let's talk about something nobody else knows about. If you're buying a J2 today, chances are you're getting a slightly more refined version than someone who bought it 6 months ago. Now, if you already own an older J2, don't worry, it's still a fantastic machine. But what Nama does periodically is they do these little subtle upgrades over time. These kinds of changes might make the operation a little bit smoother, the assembly a little easier, and you might get slightly better performance with certain fruits and vegetables. They have a dedicated engineering team in Australia that's constantly pushing the limits and working behind the scenes to improve the juicer based on real customer feedback. That mindset of never settling and actually listening to your customers says a lot about the quality of the product. And I actually got to test one of the newer versions myself. I was surprised by how much of a difference those tiny tweaks can make. But here's the thing, if you're about to drop over $500 on your next juicer, don't do it blind. Instead, click this to see what Nama's secretly improved and how the J2 stacks up against the competition.